think that's cool. That's like cave art on a human. Well, no, that's not cave art. That's way after cave art, I guess. But that's like hieroglyphics on a human.
There's one. My last kind of mummy story that I've got is it's not really creepy. I just think it's really strange, and I'm very intrigued about it. But there's about 200 mummies found in the middle of the Chinese desert in an area known as the Small River Cemetery Number 5. Do you know anything about this?
No.
They found about 200 mummies in the middle of the desert, and the mummies were strange because they had like European features, like brown hair and long noses, so they were like clearly of European descent, but they're in the middle of the Chinese desert. And they were buried underneath upside down boats, so like no water anywhere around.
Yeah.
And instead of tombstones, they had like their graves marked with this giant forest of phallic symbols. These basically big, huge poles.
Wiener Forest?
Yeah, basically in the middle of a desert with mummies underneath boats. It's really weird.
Were they naturally preserved mummies or were they like prepared mummies?
Naturally preserved in the dry heat of the desert.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Why are they underneath boats?
No one knows. It's a big mystery. Doesn't make any sense. Why were this European group in the middle of China? Who killed them? Why did they bury them? Why did they put giant penis tombstones on their graves? Just so many questions.
I love random penis stories. We should do an episode of random penis stories throughout history. Because like we've mentioned the King Tut, how he had a big old boner when he died or when he got mummified.
Well, we got to get at least one penis reference into almost every episode, right?
Yeah, that's true.
2 other just interesting mummy tidbits that are weird and tie into other shit that we've talked about in the past. King Charles II believed that mummy dust would contribute to his greatness, so he rubbed it on his skin like powdered mummy on his skin to make him awesome. And mummies in the Middle Ages were in high demand as medicine. To go back to episode 2, we didn't talk about this one, but talking about it now, mummies. For example, some Europeans would boil a mummy and then use the oils to treat bruising, stomach aches, or a bunch of other ailments. So
yeah, and you can just randomly buy mummies like into like the 1800s. Like I saw pictures of like there's like homeless guys or like street performers that like are performing, the buskers, I guess we learned on the last episode that they're called.
They are called buskers, yes.
But they're like beside them are like 2 mummies, and you can like buy the mummies for like $15 or something. Like just randomly buy mummies. I guess that started in like the Napoleonic era. I think like Napoleon, and this is going to be me like just completely obliterating history, but I think Napoleon was the first person to like start to like raid mummies and like sell mummies or something. I don't know. Let's fact check. We need a fact checker for that story. But I remember reading something about Napoleon and the sale of mummies started. It was something about Napoleon, but I can't be bothered with details. So we're just gonna go with that story. I think a good end story for mummies is probably one of the creepiest in my mind, which is the best preserved mummy of all time. Do you know? We're doing a mummy quiz. Do you know who that is?
Well, I mean, that's debatable. We've talked about some of these other mummies being some of the best preserved.
No, this is not debatable. This is a fact, Adam. This is not a debatable thing. I mean, this mummy. So just and maybe testing your mummy knowledge here. I will give you some clues as to who this is, and then you can try to guess. This mummy, she has soft skin, and this is like the dating game. This is like the dating game. Ready? Would you like to take this lady out? She has soft skin.
Ooh.
Her arms and legs can bend. Her internal organs are still intact, and she has a type A blood type. And she has her own hair and eyelashes.
Ooh, that's
Who
sexy.
are you taking on this date, Adam?
I don't know. I guess it's a blind date.
This is the Lady of Day, or I'm gonna fuck up. I've spent a lot of time like learning the phonetics of Chinese, So this is going to be me completely obliterating this, but I think it's Shinju. That is her name, or Lady of Day, who died during the Han Dynasty, which is, for all of us history buffs out there, we know that by my Napoleon story that I am of that class.
You've established in many episodes that you are not a historian. You're not a scientist.
I can't be bothered. I look towards the future. The Han Dynasty was 206 BC to 220 AD, and this plumpy little chick was the wife of Marquis of Day. For those of you, or Die, for those of you that are paying attention.
So is this the big bloated lady mummy?
This is the big bloated Kim Jong Un motherfucking looking mummy. I mean,
she is fucking creepy looking.
Yeah. And it basically, here's how I make the comparison for everybody that's listening, and you, Adam, that don't have the picture in front of you.
I've seen it though. I saw it in my research.
This is what this chick looks like. She sort of looks like Kim Jong Il, so the father of Kim Jong Un, but if you tore his face off and sewed it back on, and then stretched him out and plumped him up.
What an appropriate description.
That's exactly. I mean, just close your eyes and picture that for a minute as you're driving or wherever you're listening from. That's what this mummy looks like. But she's basically still got blood in her veins. She still has all of her skin. She basically looks like you just pulled her out of a river like 4 days ago. And I mean, she still has all her hair. It's fucking creepy, dude.
Mummies are fucking creepy.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2,100 years old, and it's baffling scientists as to how this body, maintained. And they're saying like this. I mean, she was a big old fatty. She died of heart disease, I think, or something. They could determine how she died to that level because of her organs are still intact, but they said that she had, according to the autopsy, which they can still, they still did because of all the intactness. She was overweight, suffered from back pain, which I don't even know how the fuck she suffered from back pain, like unless she's talking to you. But she suffered from back pain. She had high blood pressure, clogged arteries, liver disease, gallstones, diabetes, and had a severely damaged heart.
So are you saying she's the most well preserved just because of her organs and shit? Because she does not look like on the outside, like a well preserved. I'll take the Rosalia. She looks way more preserved.
But
than
well,
this
that's
lady.
not fair because I mean, first of all, this is 2,100 years old to comparatively 90 years old.
I don't care.
So
I don't care.
You should care. But it literally looks like you sewed Kim Jong Un or Kim Jong Il's face back onto it, doesn't it? Like if you have the picture,
Yeah.
it literally looks like the same haircut, sort of like.
She's fucking creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like North Korean Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy.
Again, all these we'll talk about, or we'll put all these pictures of these mummies on our website, stftalk.com, or check out our socials as well. We'll put these up. Creepy fucking mummies.
I think this is definitely a Halloween-esque type story for sure. I think the mummies are instilled in all of our horror stories, our horror movies. They're not, in all honesty, they're not that scary. In a horror movie, if you see a mummy, you're pretty much just like, this is a C-level horror movie. So they're not really something like ghosts or aliens or something that's like more on the scary scale from a movie perspective. But
you'd be fucking creeped out if you went and saw Rosalia and she was fucking moving her eyes at you.
Yeah, but I think again, Rosalia is.
Fuck that.
Let's just consider her to be like the most profound mummy, prolific. I don't know which word to use there, but whatever one of those words fits. Let's consider her to be like the creme de la creme of super fucking creepy. Because none of the rest of them, like, if you saw a mummy in a museum, I would be like, this is fucking cool. This guy's 5,000 years old. It's not that creepy, though.
Okay, so
if it were fucking walking, it would be creepy.
All right, so my last question to you. For Halloween, are you going as the toilet paper mummy, or are you going as the bloated fat lady mummy?
Well, I'm going as the bloated fat guy werewolf is what I'm going as. I'm pretty much... Like if you shaved me down and put me in a bathtub too long, that's what that mummy looks like. So I'm pretty close. I'm pretty close to what that mummy looks like, but I will be going as a bloated fat guy werewolf. But yeah, I mean, I don't think mummies are that creepy. I think some of the here's a good way to put it. I think some of the stories behind the mummification, how you do it, some of the stories of how the people died or how they lived their life, I think that's creepier than the mummy itself. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's interesting to kind of have that window into, the history, right? You talked about how you like wine because it's whatever, drinking history or whatever. Mummies are like, seeing history, and it's definitely interesting. And if it's a kid, creepy. Thanks a lot for listening. Stranger Than Fiction is the brainchild of Chase Ferris, Allison Davila, and me, Adam Davila. We would love to hear from you on one of our social media accounts. You can find us at Stranger Than Fiction Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, or at STF Talk on Twitter, or check out our website, stftalk.com.